Hello everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Masters of the Universe New Eternia figure Beastman version 2. Now, I already did version 1. Go ahead and check out that video. He's a pretty cool figure. I really do like him. So I winded up picking up the version 2. So I'm going to take a really good look at this one, and then I'm going to compare the two to see which one I like better or whether if they're completely equal. So with that being said, first off, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. You're very much appreciated. And for anybody who likes this video and hasn't subscribed yet, then I please ask that you subscribe and also check out my Masters of the Universe playlist. So, without any further ado, let's get to the review. So here we have him in packaging. I do like the packaging for this. This looks really, really cool. So first off, you get a small window where you can see him, some of his accessories. You have his name right here off the side, Beastman. All right. Masters of the Universe, New Eternia. You get him. Looks like it's a fellow member of his species. You get Skeletor's skull in the background here. Now let's spin it around. Take a good look at that. That looks really cool, really creepy. I do like that a lot. Spin it around. Now this is wraparound art. So you see Beastman here, and it wraps around to a female member of his species. I think that's the first time we are actually getting a look at what the females of his race looks like. So that looks kind of cool. I'm hoping that maybe they may make a figure of her, because she would probably be a neat character to actually have. All right. Spinning around this way. There we go. We get a overall look at the figure. Him with his accessories. A little bit about him. Everybody that's part of this wave. And you also have Mattel. Spinning around this way. Boop. You get a nice headshot of him. And you also get another profile picture, which looks pretty cool. I like this picture, actually. That looks really neat. I do like this art. Right. Come back around to the front here. Up top, you have Mattel. Age restriction, 30 points of articulation. You got your Masterverse here. And then underneath, you got your skew and legal. So, all that being said, let's open them up and see what he's about. So here he is out of packaging. Overall, he's a pretty decent looking figure. Now we're going to start off with his points of articulation. So the head does move. You got a shoulder joint with a swivel. You got an elbow joint. All right. And you do have a wrist joint. All right. Get this other arm up. You do have a joint underneath the ribs. And you also have one at the hips. All right, they kind of move simultaneously, so that's pretty cool. Spin them around this way. Now you do have a thigh joint with a swivel. All right, got a knee joint. And you also have a swivel right here at the calf. All right, and then you have an ankle joint. All right, so let's get them back into position here. Now, his overall look is pretty decent. We're going to start looking into his closer, more refined details. So first off, you got your head sculpt here. Head sculpt looks pretty cool. Do like the look to that. All right. Now you do have a jaw here that opens and shuts. So it's kind of rubbery. Like you could get it to some semi shut. It's a little bit of a pain, but you can get it to shut just like that, and then have it full blown open. But it wants to try to stay in the open mode. It doesn't like the shut mode. So, it will shut, but sometimes it seems like it just wants to drift back down. So that's a little bit of an issue with me, but for the most part, I do like the head sculpt. Now you get into his body armor here. Now this is more of the Lords of Power design armor for him, and I kind of like that overall look. I like how they gave it like the more metal look. gold chain in the pendant in the middle. That's pretty cool. And when you get into his lower armor, I like that. I like this gem in the middle. I think that's really cool looking. And I like that a lot. And even the side thigh armor here, that looks pretty cool. All right. Get around to this side here. We'll bring this arm back down. So he has these little arm gauntlets here. All right, and then he has his iconic spike gauntlet or arm piece there. I guess that would be considered as. Bring it around to the back. This armor does come off. You have two pegs here to pull the armor off if you want to. All right. And you come around to this side, which is basically the same as the other side. And back around to the front. Now, you have him, and now you have the other Beast Man. So we got the version 1. So when you put these two guys together side by side, you can definitely see this one's a bigger, bulkier Beast Man, opposed to this one that's a little bit more thinned out. Pretty much similar to the rest of the set. You know, the New Eternia figures, he's a little bit thinner like the other ones. This one's a lot more bulkier. So they both do have their own unique look to them. So I think it would be a matter of preference which one you prefer, whether you like the bigger one or the smaller one. But I do feel like both of them, in their own way, has their own unique special look to them. So now let's take a look at his accessories. Now, he doesn't come with a lot, and I feel like a figure like this doesn't really need a whole lot. So it comes with a spike club. All right. And he also comes with a whip. Now, this whip, unlike the other Beastman, is like a plastic. All right. The other one was like cord. So this one's more of a rubbery plastic, which is kind of neat. So let's start with this one. So let's work this into the hand. So the fingers are pretty loose on his hand. So you should be able to get this in here, but the problem is that the whip itself is a really loose plastic. So it's not the hand. Like normally the hand is the issue. Normally the hand is so hard that you can't get the weapon in it. And then you have to use hot water or something. But in this case, it isn't that. In this case, it's actually the whip being this really, really soft rubber that makes it a little bit of a challenge to get in there. There he goes. All right. So now we got the whip. All right. And the reason why I did the whip first is because I want to simulate what I saw on the packaging to where it actually shows him having the other side of the whip in his hand. So I want to try to see if I can get that kind of image as well. So yeah, so if you want him to hold it like this, similar to how he was in the packaging, you can do that as well. He will hold it. All right. Now let's get into his spike club. All right. Oops. Let's open up these fingers. All right. These gauntlets want to spin around on you. There it goes. All right. So there we go. That fits in there pretty well. No issues with that. So both of his weapons work pretty good with him. All right, so let me get into my final thoughts with this figure. So first off, all his joints work very well. I don't have any issues with any of his joints. All his weapons swap out very well. Don't have any issues with his weapons. They swap in and out of his hands pretty good. His overall look is pretty cool. I do like his overall look. Probably the one real flaw I think this figure has is his jaw. It's kind of hard to keep it closed when you want it to be closed. It wants to stay in the open position for the most part. You can get it closed after a little bit of work, but it seems like sometimes it just wants to drift down.
So that's probably the only real flaw to him for me personally. Now, with him aside, next to the version 1, they're two totally different looking Beastman. And I'm kind of digging that for a reason because of the factor. It depends upon what you want to do with these guys, but you can like pretend one is like your normal Beastman. Like I think I might go more towards this one. I'm not exactly sure. So one you could pretend is your regular Beastman, the one that works as Skeletor, and then the other one could be like troop building. So let's say I decide I want him to be the main Beastman. I could get a couple of these, and then these could be his henchmen. And the reason why I would go with this one, he's bigger, beefier. He has more armament, so he has like that main character vibe to him. Where this one almost has like a troop building, world building vibe to him, to where you could get a couple of these to look like troops of his own species that would work with him. So that would be how I would want to do these guys. So I feel like this is unique because usually with like a He-Man or a Skeletor, it's your basic He-Man, a little bit different. So you would have regular He-Man, power battle armor He-Man, flying fist He-Man, and the same with the Skeletors and what have you. Where these two guys are so different that you can actually pretend that one is a totally different character. And I'm kind of digging that with these guys. Plus, the weapons are interchangeable. So, if you once again want to do some world building here and you want to make a couple of these different guys or him couple of different guys, you could probably swap some of these weapons out between them and make him the head guy and however you want to do it. So, at the end of the day, would I recommend this figure? Absolutely. I think he's a cool looking figure. He's a little bit thinner version of Beastman, but it also gives your imagination the option of world building. So you can pretend whatever one is Beastman, and then the other ones, other members of his clan. So yes, I would highly recommend this figure to go with your new Eternia line. Now, there's something I noticed. Here, let's put these guys over here for a second. On this box, that I wanted to bring up real quick. If you look right here, and I almost completely missed it when I was doing the review, you got Mossman hiding in the bushes here. That is pretty cool. We'll do a zoom up on that. But yeah, so you have Mossman hiding in the bushes. I don't know if that's going to be a prelude to us getting a Mossman figure for the new Eternia line. But I think it's really cool that they had him camouflaged in the box art to where if you didn't look at it quick enough, you missed him. So, with all that being said, I hope you guys did like this review. If you did, go ahead and check out my Masters of the Universe playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So, until the next one, late.